I'm Caleb Dennison, and this is DT Daily. Coming up, AT&T attempts to patent throttling, NASA hits the gas on green driving, and the FAA weighs in on drone-delivered beer. Hot on the heels of the recent legal setback for net neutrality, AT&T is patenting a way to watch and score what you download over their network. While AT&T hasn't announced how or if their patent will be implemented yet, the details are ominous. Essentially, AT&T could scan what data you download and keep score, if you will, using what they call credits. Download copyrighted content on BitTorrent? Lose credits. Use too much bandwidth at peak times? Expect to be throttled. Run out of credits due to naughty behavior? You could possibly lose all your data privileges. Also, companies could pay AT&T to push content your way, whether you like it or not. So when might AT&T implement this little data nanny plan? Well, the company isn't saying, but if you weren't already worried about the end of net neutrality, you now have every right to be. The idea that driving electric cars cuts down on greenhouse gases, especially nasty carbon dioxide, isn't exactly rocket science. But calculating exactly how much CO2 drivers don't emit sort of is, which is why a new report from NASA got our attention. The U.S. Space Agency says a pilot program with 10 electric cars has shown that using electric vehicles cut CO2 way more than anticipated. In fact, it's as much as 10 times more than they initially thought. And since it's NASA, they're taking everything into account, including CO2 emitted by the companies building the car, CO2 emitted to generate the power needed to charge them up, and numerous other aspects. One figure that really stood out was the cost for charging up all 10 cars every day for 1 month. Only $148. And finally, a story of what might have been. Ice fishing and beer go together, kind of like regular fishing and beer, except you don't need a cooler. But what's an ice fisherman to do if they find themselves short on suds? Well, if they're holed up on this lake in Minnesota, they could restock by beer drone. All it takes is some precise GPS coordinates and a call to the bait shop to order a cold half rack. The shopkeep sends the order off, and moments later, chilly fishermen and women are back to drinking and fishing. Only one problem here. The FAA caught wind of this and promptly shut down the air delivery service before it ever got off the ground. Of course, these frosty beer lovers aren't taking no for an answer. They've started a White House petition to get the vital service airborne again. 1,200 signatures down, only 98,000 to go. I think the lake's gonna thaw before this gets resolved. And that's DT Daily for today. We'll see you tomorrow.